Right. Minister.
I'm pleased to present the Credit Union Restructuring Board Dissolution Bill 2019 to the House, which gives effect to the dissolution of the Credit Union Restructuring Board. In summary, the bill provides for the dissolution of the Credit Union Restructuring Board, transfers certain functions of the Credit Union Restructuring Board to the Minister for Finance, and makes the relevant amendments to the Credit Union in cooperation with Overseas Regulators Act 2012. First, I wish to give some background on the establishment of the Credit Union Restructuring Board. The Programme for Government 2011-16 set out the Government's position regarding the credit union sector at that time and acknowledged its recognition of the important role of the sector as a cooperative movement and the distinction between credit unions and other financial institutions. The Government agreed to establish a commission on credit unions to bring forward recommendations on the future of the sector, recognising that credit unions have played and can continue to play an important role in the Irish financial sector in the future. A core recommendation of the Commission on Credit Unions in its March 12 report was that the sector should be restructured on a voluntary, incentivised and time-bound basis. Further recommended that a new body should be established on a short-term basis called the Credit Union Restructuring Board, or REBO, to engage with credit unions on the ground and to oversee and facilitate the restructuring of credit unions to support their financial stability and long-term sustainability. REBO was established on an administrative basis in August 2012 and was put on a statutory footing on enactment of Section 32 of the Credit Union Cooperation with Overseas Regulators Act 2012 on the 1st of January 2013. As recommended by the Commission, restructuring was carried out on a voluntary, incentivised, time-bound basis. It was widely flagged to the sector that the Credit Union Restructuring Board was established on a temporary basis and would be wound down when the Minister for Finance was satisfied that its work was completed. Part 3 of the Credit Union and Cooperation with Overseas Regulators Act 12 provides the legal foundation for the restructuring process, including the establishment of REBO on a time-bound basis and the dissolution of REBO on completion of its work under Section 43 of the 2012 Act. When the Minister is satisfied that REBO has completed the performance of its functions under Part 3 of the 2012 Act, he can dissolve REBO. However, before dissolving REBO, Section 43(2) requires the Minister conduct a review of the operation of Part 3 of the 2012 Act no later than January 2012 to determine whether or not REBO has, in the Minister's opinion, completed the performance of its functions. On this basis, the Minister carried out two Section 43 interim reviews, the first in October 15 and the second in October 16, as well as a final Section 43 review in June 17. Both the interim reviews noted that REBO's functions had been fulfilled insofar as they could be, given that at each point in time REBO's work was still ongoing. The second interim review in October 16 recommended that REBO be given until 31st of March 17 to complete any outstanding restructuring projects, following which REBO should be wound down in an orderly fashion. The purpose of the final Section 43 review in June 17 was to assess the work of REBO over its lifetime to date, to determine whether or not its work was complete and to assist the Minister in making an informed decision in relation to the restructuring process and to the term of REBO. The final report clearly demonstrates that REBO worked methodically and diligently throughout its time-bound lifetime to maximise its potential in facilitating and overseeing restructuring of the credit union sector in Ireland. Additionally, REBO completed its restructuring work with minimal call on exchequer resources compared to original expectations. Taking account of each aspect of REBO's functions and following due consideration, examination and a detailed analysis of its work, the final review in June 17 under Section 43(2)(b) of the 12 Act concluded that REBO had completed the performance of its functions to the highest standards and the orderly wind down of REBO's operations was recommended. I do want to briefly outline the extent and manner of REBO's work during its short lifetime. Following on from its establishment on a statutory basis under Section 42 of the Credit Union and Overseas Regulators Act 12, REBO appointed a Chief Executive Officer and relevant staff in the Section half of 13. REBO staff were employed on fixed-term contracts which expired on or before 31st of July 17. Restructuring under REBO was a once-off opportunity for credit unions in Ireland to avail of the huge expertise and experience of the board and staff of REBO led by the chairman of its board, Mr Bobby McVeigh. REBO board members included members from the credit union representative bodies, the Irish League of Credit Unions, the Credit Union Development Association and the Credit Union Management Association, a central bank non-voting member, a department representative, as well as independent members appointed by the Minister for Finance. When initially established, REBO engaged extensively with individual credit unions and with the sector as a whole. The engagement helped raise its profile within the sector and provided a platform for the commencement of its restructuring work in order to carry out its main work in an effective manner. REBO also put a number of measures in place. It developed a user-friendly website whose credit unions could find information regarding all aspects of the restructuring process, including a merger process handbook, forms and templates, with the process itself and updates on completed mergers. In March 14, REBO published its strategic plan with its overarching vision for vibrant, sustainable credit unions that are credible, trustworthy providers of financial services to their members. It also published its mission statement reaffirming that REBO shall facilitate and oversee the restructuring of credit unions on a voluntary, incentivised, time-bound basis so as to support the financial stability and long-term sustainability of credit unions generally. I move the adjournment. Last Cancor.
Move the adjournment.